you get a guy like EB who puts in the time, who is a great leader of players and men, and someone that can really control and have a presence in any room that he walks in, you understand why these other teams are looking at him to be their head coach. And so we obviously are focused on our goal right now, but we know with who he is and how he operates that he'll have the opportunities to go places and continue to have success.
Well, I've never seen, besides Coach Reid, I've never seen a guy who comes into work each and every day, who wants to get better. Our record is 13-1, right? You see most coaches who's like, okay, we're 13-1, we're the 1 seed, we just kind of go with that. Here's EB, right? He comes in, he stays on us, he holds us accountable, and he just loves the game of football. Everything that he says on the sideline or in meetings, guys are gonna go out there and do, because those all of us we want to fight for him, because he's a great coach, and I wouldn't mind playing for him anywhere, because our relationship off the field is amazing. He cares about the player.
That's a phenomenal coach is what they're looking at, and I think they would all stand on the table for him. We'd all miss him, but they'd all stand up and tell you what he's all about. He's a leader of men, and they all, he's going to shoot you straight, honest, and then they also know and respect his mind. I give him every weekend. I sit down. We put together this game plan sheet with 200 plus plays on it, and he memorizes every play, every formation, just boom on recall like that. And every week I go, listen, are you good with this? And he goes, no problem, got it. But a lot of hard work goes into it. Plus, he's a brilliant dude.
We are right in the middle of another coaching hiring period in the NFL, and one that is particularly taking a little bit longer than I'm used to. Feels like nobody's getting hired for some odd reason. And one name that is always coming to everybody's mind every coaching hiring cycle is Eric Bieniemy, who has still not been hired to become a NFL head coach. Now, he has all of the support from everybody in the world, from whether it's the coaches in Kansas City, all sorts of media members, all sorts of Chiefs players, former teammates, and they're all there to support their coach. And it's just becoming very interesting as every year goes by, Eric Bieniemy just sits there, gets all sorts of interviews, but not a single team has pulled the trigger and made him their head coach. But before I get into the real reason why Eric Bieniemy isn't getting hired, please, if you are new here, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a like. I would really appreciate it, and it would help this video out. Now, let's get into the real reason why Eric Bieniemy isn't getting hired to become a head coach in the NFL. And I first want to start off with this tweet by Matt Miller. He said that NFL sources think there is a strong chance Bieniemy won't be hired this cycle because the Chiefs are expected to go on a Super Bowl run, and there's concerns about Andy Reid's coaching tree. Now, I find this absolute bullshit, and I have obviously no clue why this was tweeted. Obviously, the Chiefs are a Super Bowl contender, and everyone with a brain saw this coming. And two, Reid's coaching tree is one of the best in the NFL, one of the best in the history of sports, if we're being honest. He has so many guys that have been head coaches in the NFL that were assistants under him, and maybe this guy's referencing Doug Peterson, who obviously was recently fired by the Eagles, and Matt Nagy, who obviously gets criticized a lot with the Bears, but Sean McDermott, John Harbaugh, and Ron Rivera are all a part of this tree and have had massive success this year. Two of them are still in the playoffs, and one of them turned around the Washington football team. Nobody ever thought that was possible. And maybe it's just the defensive coaches are the ones that have success from this coaching tree and not the offensive ones. But I still think this is just a dumb concern that really has no validity to it. Bieniemy has had so many head coaching looks this past 3 years, and he's got an interview with everybody in this cycle except for the Texans, and even Adam Schefter is starting to believe that Eric Bieniemy won't get hired this cycle. Now, if you didn't know this, Eric Bieniemy was a former NFL player. He went to Colorado and was drafted in the second round in 1991, played for the Chargers, Bengals, and Eagles, and then after that he became a coach. He was at Colorado as their running backs coach, then went to UCLA as their running backs coach, then with the Vikings from 2006 to 2009 was their running backs coach, then with the Vikings in 2010 he was the assistant head coach and running backs coach, and then 2011 through 2012, he was the offense coordinator at Colorado, and then he has been with the Chiefs since 2013 under coach Andy Reid. He's been their running backs coach from 2013 to 2017, and since 2018, obviously, under Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, he has been the offensive coordinator of the highest scoring team in the NFL with one unstoppable offense, one of the best I've ever seen as a football fan. He has so much experience, and I want to play a clip of Coach Bieniemy for you guys talking. I don't even think people know what he really sounds like or what type of person he is, so I just want to play this clip so you guys kind of get familiar with him, and he seems like a pretty motivational and one of the realest dudes in the NFL.
Is that we have an outstanding culture where we don't haze players. You know what I mean? There's no mental haze and this guy's a rookie. No. Our guys know when they walk through that door, whoever walks through that door is by far the most important player. We're going to need that player. And our veterans understand that. And they're going to help raise those individuals because we never know when those particular players are going to be called upon to win the game for us. That's what I call a winning culture.
So now you know a little bit about what Eric Bieniemy is as a head coach. And I've already played clips of Andy Reid talking about him, but here's another clip of Andy Reid talking about Coach Bieniemy. And just seeing Andy Reid talk about him, I've not really seen Andy Reid talk about any of his other assistants like Eric Bieniemy ever. So it really just kind of goes to show how much Andy Reid believes in him.
Great a leader as he is of men. And in this business, that's huge. I mean, you're never going to have to worry about Eric Bieniemy. Never. On the field, off the field. He's going to be honest with you and straightforward, and then he knows the offense. So to be a head coach, if you're going to survive in this business, you better be honest with the people you deal with, and you better have a plan for them. To be able to unite, I think, is important. And I think he has that ability. I mean, I watch it every day. So, I mean, I know he has that ability. And our football team, they're as tight as anybody around. And he talks to that offense every day. He stands in front of them and talks to them every day. I've seen a couple coaches come and go. And listen, he does it as well as anybody. And then his presentation is strong. He's ready to make the move. I mean, that's where we're at today.
But, you know, with all this positive, there are some concerns with Eric Bieniemy, and it's really the big reason why people believe he hasn't gotten a head coaching job. Now, let's start with his past, because people just can't get over it. Now, it's a tough sell for some teams because Bieniemy has allegedly multiple assaults, including choking a woman, a DUI, and a separate fleeing the scene and being part of a sexual assault cover-up is worrisome for a lot of NFL teams. Now, all of this happened over 20 years ago, and the way everybody on the Chiefs talks about him, you wouldn't even know this was the same person. But the thing is I was reading a lot about Bieniemy, and I was surprised how many people didn't realize any of this stuff had happened. And these are fans of NFL teams, and it's just pretty interesting why people don't even talk about this type of stuff, because not a lot of people even knew this. And still don't even know this. But again, there are way too many people within the NFL that I trust, especially their opinion, that all suggest that Eric would be a great coach. So I don't know how you can look at this situation and think that these past mistakes can impact his future so far ahead. I mean, it's been so long since these had happened, and he really seems to have cleaned himself up. But really another concern that I think stands out the most is the talent that he has had in Kansas City, and if he really is a big reason for their success. Obviously having Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Kelce. I mean, all of these players are just the top of their positions. And one of the biggest narratives working against Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy during the last round of NFL coaching hires seemed to resolve around the notion that he doesn't call plays for the league's top offense. Now, he is in Patrick Mahomes' helmet, giving him communication. He's there at practice. He's learning under Coach Reid. He will know how to call plays if he ever needs to. And he has, because things work so fast in the NFL, that he's obviously had opportunities to call plays. And I want to mention that Frank Reich, one of my favorite coaches in the NFL, didn't call plays for the Eagles during their Super Bowl run, but yet he's doing a fantastic job as a head coach in the NFL. You don't have to call plays to be a good head coach. I mean, plenty of head coaches don't call plays. That's not the job of the head coach. But it is kind of concerning that as each season goes by, all of the interviews that he gets, but yet no one has hired him. You begin to wonder what these people are actually seeing when they meet with him and wonder what type of stuff he is saying in these interviews, and I'm starting to get concerned about it because none of these teams are following through. Now I'm just curious what you guys have to say and why he isn't getting a job as an NFL head coach. Now I do understand the concerns about him, and I don't want to sit here and act like everybody that is not hiring him is just a bad person. These are their franchises that they're looking after, and they have to make the best decision for them, and they can hire whoever the hell they want. He's still getting interviews and his time will come, but the past concerns and if he is in control or not in Kansas City are legit arguments to make. But people wonder this about all sorts of coaches, not just Eric Bieniemy. Now, the biggest elephant in the room that nobody ever mentions is that maybe Eric Bieniemy wants to stay with the Chiefs until Coach Reid retires. I mean, it's not bad to get this interview experience just to see what other teams have to offer, and maybe he's the head coach in waiting in Kansas City. I know that Coach Reid has never mentioned this, but obviously with how good the Chiefs are right now, Andy Reid's basically coaching for fun because this team is just so dominant. So maybe Eric Bieniemy could take control over in the future. I mean, it would make perfect sense. He's already right there. He'd be perfect to line up to be the next head coach. Now, Reid is younger than Mike Zimmer, Bill Belichick, Bruce Arians, and Pete Carroll, all guys in the NFL. But, you know, maybe he hangs it up soon. You never know what somebody else is thinking or going through. And again, like I mentioned, it'd be the perfect situation for Kansas City. Have him take over. He's been with Patrick Mahomes since the start, and he does have a big impact on this team. So let me know what you guys think about this entire situation and why Eric Bieniemy just has not gotten a head coaching job in the NFL. It's a super interesting story to talk about, and I'm just curious what you guys think about this entire situation. Now, thank you for watching, and please, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me, hit the notification bell, and leave a like for future videos, just like this one that you're watching now. Also, make sure to check out my Urban Meyer Jacksonville Jaguars video. That will do it for today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.